Hey guys, I'm very excited to be here today live because it's been a while since I had the last live session with you. In one of my recent stories, I asked about TED. I asked about TED Talks, and I know that a lot of you guys, you use them at your lessons. So I decided to invite today one very professional person, a person who knows not only about TED, but also organizes TEDx events. So today I'm gonna be talking with my friend, and she will join me just in a couple of seconds, hopefully. So just a second, let me say hi to everyone. Okay, so I can see that Inna is here. So Inna is an expert in everything that is related to TEDx, and today she will tell us what the difference is. She will also tell us more about how to become a speaker. Just in case if you have one bright idea that you'd like to share with your community. Okay, so. Okay, should be here in just a second. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We're here to answer them. So Inachka, I can see you there. Hello, hello.
Hi there.
Is the connection good? Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Great. I'm very excited today to welcome you, and of course to learn from you, because even though I took part in TED event, TEDx to be more specific, I still think that I don't have enough of information. So today I will be asking some questions related to maybe to requirements, maybe to some organizational things as well, just in case someone wants to repeat your story, your success. So first of all, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Inna Sandiuk. This year I was the license holder and the main organizer of Tedx Vinnytsia. But previously I was working in the team as the PR manager, and then I kind of upgraded to the license holder and managed to build my own team, and together to create a wonderful event that took place in Vinnytsia in April. And basically it requires so much work that we plan to organize it just once a year, even though we have the demand for more frequent organization of the event, but still once a year is a lot of work to do. So the next event is going to take place in spring in 2020. So for those who have the desire to take part, you can start already thinking about the idea worth spreading. And basically I teach English as well, and also worked as the freelance journalist and as the NGO civil society expert and stuff like that. But mainly now I concentrate on English and TEDx.
Perfect.
If you need to do something perfectly, you just need to focus on one or two things, and then you're good to go. Otherwise, absolutely, it takes a lot of energy and brings no results whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. And just now that we know more about you, I would like you to explain the main difference between TED, because a lot of people who I shared the story with, they answered that they are positive about TED, but as for TEDx, so what is the difference between the two? Please share with us.
So basically, TED is the global conference that takes place each and every year in a couple of times, because there are different types. In Vancouver, in Canada, it all started in 1984 in Monterey, in California, and then it moved to Canada. And TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. Mm-hmm. So those were the three main pillars that at the very beginning the conference was based on. But later on, the organizers thought well, there are so many other areas that you would like to cover. So the abbreviation, the name stayed, but the variety of topics that are being covered by TED speakers, by TED Talks, is much more wider, and it can be anything, starting from religion, politics, or I don't know, digital era and technology. And then they thought, well, this is the global experience that we would like to spread more to the local communities. And they came up with the idea of locally, independently organized events in the spirit of TED. And this is how Tedx was created. So basically, Tedx Vinnytsia is the event which is based pretty much on the concept and organizational issues like the global TED, but more like on the local arena. And then we have all the tools how to organize the event. We have the very specific guidelines, like what are the do's and don'ts. But it all depends on us, the quality of the event, the partnerships quality, and also the audience, and then the way we promote the TEDx talks and stuff like that. So the main difference is, like, you can never say that TED was organized in Vinnytsia, Kyiv, Odessa, or any other city on the planet, because TED is just in Vancouver, and TEDx is everything else.
Everything else.
Yeah.
And from your words, I could hear that it's quite independent. So TEDx is an independent event. And does it mean that literally anyone can organize this event? Like, for example, if you have a desire and you show this initiative, you can apply, for example, and organize it, let's say, for your university, for your educational establishment. So is it possible, and how can you do that?
Yeah, there are basically different types. Like, even if you would like within your business entity to organize an event, is also possible. Universities is very, very popular. We have in Ukraine also some TEDx, I don't know, UKU, TEDx Now, and stuff like that. But first and foremost, you need to take into account the whole responsibility that comes with the organization of the event. It's not just the fancy thing that you do and you place it on your resume and then your mom is so much proud of you. No, this is the whole bunch of stuff that you need to take care of. This is your small baby that you need to show to the world and do it really in a proper way. So basically, you need first to come up with the concept, with the title for the event, and then when applying for the license, and this is the very time-consuming and very specific process. I mean, it took me 3 hours in order to fill out the whole application form.
Wow.
And then you have to provide already at least 3 ideas that you would like to share, to spread during your event. And they don't require you at once to have the speakers for that, because first and foremost, at the very core of the conference stays the idea worth spreading. And then if you know the person who has this idea, then you can contact him or her, or I don't know, use your network in order to find this specific person. But it doesn't mean like we contact you and say, do you have any idea? Would you like to share something? No, doesn't work this way. So yeah, you have to place at least 3 ideas that you would like to cover. And in order to do so, you have to be very, like, you need to follow all the trends. You need to know what is going on in the world, what are the news, what are the requirements of the society in terms of information they would like to consume and absorb. So you need to be very information savvy in order to organize a very cool event. And of course, you cannot do it alone. I mean, you can, but then you will not be that much delightful, and the quality of the event will be just narrow, because it would be based on your box and your thoughts and opinions and stuff like that. But if you involve more people from different areas, this is how also design thinking is working, then the quality of your event and the feedback from the audience would be much more positive and much more far-reaching and impactful. So anyone can apply.
Okay, I think we've lost the connection, guys. Just a second. I'm not sure if you can hear me and Inna. Okay.
The internet connection is
Yeah,
okay
it's
now.
sorry, I'm back.
So basically, you need to be aware of time that you need to invest into organizational stuff, because more or less it takes 3 months and it's totally volunteer-based work. You are not allowed to be paid for that. And you have to be very clear about that when you also build your team. Like, team members also get nothing out of it, just the experience, delightfulness, and then the desire to invest something into the development of the society, like to pay back what society gives to you. Yeah, and also you have to be very open about what you do. And you have to be very vocal about it. You have to talk to people a lot. You have to spread a word about the great event that you're going to organize. Otherwise, no one would ever know about it. And what's the point? The point is to get together in one room and to have discussions, to network, to have a dialogue, basically, to talk, to discuss, and then to interact and exchange information, get inspired, and do something in return for your community. Because, like, it's not only about inspiration, it's also about knowledge, and it's also about the way you use this knowledge in order to change things. It's all about change makers and those who are ready to put their best foot forward in order to be a change.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for this description. I think it makes it clear that it's not just, a piece of cake to organize everything and to prepare, and it takes so much and beyond. But I also know that even if, for instance, you're interested in TED Talks that much, but maybe you're not yet ready to invest all your resources, you might also organize something for your school that you work in, or maybe even within your classroom, because this is what I have already heard that many teachers do at their lessons. So they assign some maybe topics, or they ask their students to find something that they are interested in, or maybe they would like to know more about, and just present in a style of TED. So I think that whatever way you go, large scale or like small scale, is still it's about educating. It's about making this difference, even like within small classroom, or I don't know, among the people that you live with. Yes, one city, within one city, or within one university. And Inna, I also wanted to discuss a little bit the role of the speaker, right? So you said that, of course, you have to select speakers. And how do you do that? How do you announce okay, we've got applications, so fill in the form, register for the event. So how does this process happen?
2 comments on my side regarding the impact you can have already in the classroom. Mm-hmm. You are totally right, because TED is one of my favorite tools in order to help people learn English, because this is just perfect. You can pick up like very short videos and learn so many new words and collocations out of it, and analyze grammar, and then try to have a discussion based on that, using already the new vocabulary that you learned. And my favorite TED Talk is Thomas Suarez, who is a 12-year-old young developer, and he's already sharing his experience, how he organized a small community of those kids who would like to learn programming at his school, and how it all scaled. And this is just amazing. This is just a boy who is talking about really like adult stuff. And when I show it to my students, they say like, wow, I'm 26 and I'm like nothing close to this guy. So this is a lot of inspiration for me in order to grow both personally and professionally. And then last week, I discovered that one of our talks from this year was analyzed in the classroom in terms of public speaking skills. So there was the class dedicated to developing these skills, like helping students to develop those skills. And I think this is great because mostly the type of education we have is just like sitting and listening to the lecturer, whereby in the European Union, it's all based on the discussions, on expressing your opinion. And then if you end up in this type of environment and you cannot express yourself, you lose so much in your life because you cannot interact with people. So basically, I was amused by the fact that our TEDx talk is being analyzed from this perspective, and also based on like the way that the speaker placed the arguments and how she developed her thoughts and the examples she supported it all with. Like, this is a very cool feedback for me, and I thought like, wow, we didn't do it in vain. It has positive impact already now. So this is great work done by the whole team and the speakers. And regarding the way you can apply as a speaker, well, at first, when we have the meetings of our team, we sit down and we think about the topics that are really hot now that people would like to learn more about, or some extraordinary topics that probably in some other circumstances people would not be able to learn about. For example, this year we had a doctor who was talking about the myopia and the way kids lose their eyesight from the very early age because of the ignorance of their parents, or at least the way we now grow up our kids. Like, it's better to show the cartoon than to play with the kids, or to have it like to let the kid play on the playground because it's so dangerous and stuff like that. So first we think about topics, and then we think about people who are competent, who are expert in that stuff, in that certain area. And we try to contact those people asking whether or not they would like to participate, because for a speaker, it's also a huge responsibility and also a lot of work to do. And not all the people are willing to get engaged in this type of event because they know they can't afford it in terms of time and stuff like that. And then we also have the open call, because we would not like to be biased and to only have our perspective on the topics and the speakers that we invite. We would like to have it all balanced. So there is the open call. Everyone can participate. Everyone can apply. We have a couple of questions. We have the guidelines at the beginning, like what we expect the potential speakers to talk about in this or that question. And then we get like 30 application forms this year. And we had some extra assignment for speakers. We introduced it this time for the first time, and it worked out. The assignment was to record a 3 up to 5 minute video of yourself talking about the idea you would like to share. And this is very challenging, I know it, but it saves a lot of time for the organizers, for the team. Number one, we can evaluate the public speaking skills and evaluate our skills in terms of like providing some assistance in order to help the person to get prepared. And then we can also evaluate the idea itself. If the person can squeeze into the 5 minute frame the idea, then probably it would be much easier to broaden it into 18 minute talk, because the main requirement is to stick to 18 minute limit. And not all the people were ready to do that. And it also, for us as a team, shows the way the person treats this whole endeavor. If the person is not ready at the very early stage to go some extra mile, then probably this is not the way we're gonna, have our cooperation further, and it's not gonna be successful, which is not something we are looking for. And also, not all the people, and like later on, we're gonna elaborate on it a bit more. Not all the people are ready to understand that this is the competition. Okay. And some of the application forms contained only just like one sentence. I would like to talk about business, for example. Like, for me, it's about nothing and everything at the same time, and I cannot evaluate the bright idea that you have in mind. So I think for people, it's also very useful in terms of expressing themselves and squeezing into 1, 2, 5, 10 sentences the idea that you would like to share. And normally a lot of business consultants say that if you have some idea, you should be able to put it in 1 sentence, as if this is a short message, as if this is a tweet. If you cannot do it, then most probably your idea is not good enough. So yeah, everyone can participate, everyone can apply, but you need to have some really good idea. You need to know what TED and TEDx is first and foremost, because there was a question, do you know what is TEDx or TED? And some people were saying like, no. And I know that there are a lot of people who are dying. They are willing to be a TEDx speaker, but they don't have this bright idea, or they don't believe in themselves. And then if a person applies and says like, no, I just would like to be a speaker at this conference, well, then learn a little bit more. Make sure you would like to be a speaker at this particular conference, and then we can talk. This is how it works.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's really nice that you have showed and explained these things from your experience. And it's really, I think, important for a person who wants to participate, like to understand that you have to be very committed, and you have to be ready to invest all you've got, because that's what I remember. It took a lot of time to prepare, a lot of devotion, a lot of commitment. And I remember the team. I remember you guys. You were helping me all the way through. And tell me what's beyond. So once the speaker is accepted, is approved, what is your role? Because I remember you helped a lot.
Yeah, it's like our responsibility as well to take care of speakers and to help them create a really cool TEDx talk, as if this is the Vancouver stage and you're presenting it like in the way Bill Gates did it, for example. And this time we had rehearsals each and every week, which was a lot of like pressure on speakers, I know, but we wanted so badly to have them to have them prepared and confident in what they are speaking about, because if the person comes to the stage and shows even a little bit of unconfidence, it's so much visible and the audience can feel it. It's just like in the air. It starts with a draft. You just write everything that comes to your mind, but still there are like key messages, like pillars that you're building your TEDx talk on. And then with every time we meet, and we did it online with all the speakers, we get connected via Facebook Messenger, Google Hangouts, Skype, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we think about the examples, about the stories that we can support it all with. And storytelling is like the main trend nowadays. So unless there is something personal, well, if you do not share something personal, then most probably it would not get the feedback from the people, because people need to feel that this is something really close to them, not distant. And then also we had our partners who helped us with the public speaking skills, like with the exercises for articulation, also for the voice, and how if you are nervous, which is normal, how to cope with that and not to destroy your whole beautiful TEDx talks just because you got too nervous and frustrated. And also we had the webinar with the wonderful girl Olga Yurkova. She's basically from Vinnytsia, but she's living in Kiev for a couple of years, and she's working in the organization that deals with fake news. And she applied for the program called TEDx Fellowship, a TED Fellowship.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the competition was really high. I don't remember the exact number, but like in the end, there were 20 people selected out of, I don't know, 10,000 people, because everyone from around the world could participate, could apply. And she had just 4 minutes in order to present her idea and to elaborate on what she is really passionate about. Like, it's when some potential speakers say to me that 18 minutes is not enough time for them, because normally they have trainings or seminars during like 2 days. I say, guys, what about 4 minutes, you know? So she presented her idea about fake news and how we on our daily basis can cope with that. Within 4 minutes at Vancouver stage, she was working with the TED team, and they were helping her getting prepared. Then she also took some English classes because she was supposed to present in English. And she was speaking about so many useful details, including the voice, the makeup, the clothes, the preparation, like just 1 day before and stuff like that. And also about like building the idea in all the arguments that you would like to present with it. And one of the girls who was our speaker got so much inspired by her presentation that she changed, not entirely, but I mean like 50% of the structure of the arguments. And I think her speech was really powerful in the end, and it helped her a lot. So sharing experience, even in terms of public speaking skills, even in terms of little details, is also very helpful. And sharing is caring, sharing is inspiring. I encourage everyone who has anything to share to do that, not just by means of TED or TEDx, but also like on Facebook or Instagram. You never know.
Or in teacher's room.
Teacher's room, exactly. You never know how it will work. And even if there is just one single person that reads or listens to it, and it changes somehow her or his mindset, then I think this is a success story, and this is really important.
Perfect. I think it's quite inspiring what you've shared. I do believe that teachers, because that's the main audience that we have today, they have something to say. So guys, go on if you have something really worthy, really valuable. So just work for it. Maybe just think about how you can shape this idea into more specific message. And it is possible, really. Inna, and one more question, but since we're talking about speakers, who are your favorite speakers and maybe talks? What is on your maybe top 3 or top 5 list?
In terms of speakers that we have at Tedx Vinica, I love all of them, because I felt at the day of TEDx, like imagine, I thought this is like similar to a wedding party that you organize for half a year, and then it's just like a couple of hours and it's all gone. So at that day, I thought like, I feel as if I'm a mom, and those old people are my kids, and I'm so much nervous, even more than them, when they are presenting, because I want them to feel happiness when they present from the Tedx Vinica stage. And also because so many people were watching us online, we have this limitation of people that we can invite as the audience at the very day of TEDx, like only 100 people, even though I would like thousands of people to listen to our speakers. But we organized the live stream, and there were like more than 1,000 people watching it. And then later, when the TED publishes TEDx Talks on the official YouTube channel, which is 19 million people. Can you imagine that?
Whoa.
Like everyone, like literally everyone from every corner of the world can watch this or that talk and get inspired and do something after watching some videos. So also, if you're presenting in English, this means it's much more covered in terms of like more people can watch it. But speaking generally, what talks inspired me a lot, like Thomas Suarez, the 12-year-old developer, number one. And then the second guy is a 66-year-old entrepreneur who started his career as the entrepreneur at the age of 64. And he speaks about like how he was fired just a year before his retirement, and how he was like very committed. He worked for one single company for 40 years, and then at some point the manager says like, you know what, we cannot work with you any longer. And that particular evening he has a dinner with his wife, and he says like, we got so much drunk because the news were so bad, but I decided not to give up, but instead to build my own team, to get all of the experience that I have, and to follow the trends, and also see what I can do. And he picked up the topic of environment, climate change, and energy, and like the technology, how you can combine this all. And he's very successful. So it combines like a very personal story, especially with the night out with the wife, and then the way like a person at the retirement age facing a very huge problem of unemployment and like what to do next in life can brace himself and create something very special and valuable and help other people. So I think bringing your whole expertise and your dreams into one specific talk is so much powerful. So if you have a bright idea, it's not just about a type of lecture that you can provide people with, but it's something very personal, and then this is a success story. I have a question to you, like regarding your
go ahead.
talk. Do you think it was a game changer? Did it change somehow your life? Did you get some positive feedback from people who watched it online later on? How it all gone with the preparation? And then are you happy that you were a TEDx speaker? And if so, would you like to be a TED speaker in the end?
Well, that's a really, really interesting question, because it definitely was worthy of all the time and efforts, and it was very great challenge for me. It happened during the time I was literally with two little kids alone, staying at home, and I was thinking about something very different from what I do, and it was a challenge. It was probably growing, developing inside of myself. So I was growing with my idea, together with my idea, because I was putting it through myself, through my experience, just like you said. And even later, I noticed that I always get back to this idea, and I see some, some proofs, the evidence all over me. I don't know, but it shaped my own surroundings. I think that I got more digital, and maybe even after that, I don't know if it is really directly connected, but I think this blog was born right after I presented at Tedx Talks. So I think there is a connection. By the way, this thought just came to my mind just right now. I will just check. I will have a check with the dates, but I think there's something in it. So I definitely recommend everyone to try. And again, if you have this idea, don't keep it to yourself. Inspire others, even if you're just within small little classroom, because people, I think, need so much of this personal touch, really need someone to look up to, and someone to just, be a role model. So I think that we're the people who our students can be like a little bit. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, because like in August, I was I participated in the educational program in Austria, in Alps. And there was one of the speakers during the panel discussion, and he was presented as a TED speaker. And I was like, wow. And it was thought that his TED talk was watched by 1 million people or so. And I was like, wow, this has to be really something special. And then I wanted to ask him how his life changed after being a speaker. And he said, like, I don't think it changed in any way. I mean, I'm a speaker in so many conferences. Yeah, there were some specific requirements in terms of timing and the way I framed it. But other than that, no, I don't think my life changed. And I think that, for the TED stage, maybe they're looking for rock stars with, I don't know, like super famous in their specific area. But we at the local level are looking for people who have this bright idea and who would like to tell about it to the rest of the world. We are not looking for rock stars or famous names. We really are basically concentrating on the idea and the personality and the willingness to share. So for those who have this idea, I really encourage you guys to try and apply, even if you don't feel that 100% confident. Like, it's worth trying, and then we'll see. If it works, then it works. If it doesn't, then maybe you just have to work a little bit more on your idea, and this is it. Maybe you would not be willing to be a speaker in the end if you try and be at these rehearsals. It all depends, but trying is always something you have to aspire to, because otherwise your life will never change.
Absolutely. And Inna knows what she's saying because she participates and she applies to, I know, to different conferences out there, youth conferences, right? So this is something that I can see you're sharing. And I'm sure it changes you, and you grow also within this, setting. So Inna, thanks a lot for coming today. Sort of coming, yes, for being with us. You guys, if you have any questions other than, can you help me to learn English? Yes, we can. Together with Inna, we're teachers, so you can just, I don't know, Inna, do you take any more students? Maybe this person can ask you directly. But anyway, if you have any questions, feel free. Probably just let me check it through. Save the interview. Okay, we will save the interview for sure. It will be available for 24 more hours. Okay, so probably that's all. So, once again, thanks a lot for sharing. I wish you good luck with your kid, and I hope that you will find a lot of new bright ideas worth spreading, just as much as you will also educate your students with those ideas. So take care, bye, and thanks a lot again.
Thanks for having me here. It was a pleasure to share information, and if anyone has any other questions, you can always contact me on Instagram or Facebook. I would reply, and we'll see. Collaboration is something we are looking for. So if you have anything to say, just say it.
Okay. So thanks a lot. Bye. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye.